Thanks for coming, folks. The keystone of good community policing is going to rest in building relationships in a very authentic way and building on those trust bonds. And we need to have the best, the brightest, as Joel mentioned, as well as the people that are committed long-term to providing those sort of qualitative services. So in my last 17 years, before I had this cursed job I currently possess, we had a phrase, and I'd like to believe it still retains some relevancy to this day. MPD is a place where individuals can and do make a difference. This task of recruiting the best and the brightest has been entrusted to Sergeant Tim Patton. And Sergeant Patton basically said there are no longer any sacred cows. The old guy is gone. I'm the new guy on the block. And we're going to look at everything from an entirely new paradigm, a new set of lenses. And to his credit, he did just that. And to start with, he then began by incorporating the help and assistance of our own best employee referrals, our police officers, women and men who are there on the front lines. Our story starts with Scott and Amy Kleinfeld, who basically hatched this idea, and it grew legs. And it grew through fruition through a lot of collaborative discussions with our diversity inclusion teams and others from the department to see how can we best find a mechanism for attracting people to this very challenging and daunting task, policing in our day and age. And in that context, we realize that a lot of the people that are ultimately hired do a lot of self-searches, and they use our website as a starting or a kickstart for that. But then there's an awful lot of good people that come to us vis-a-vis employee referrals. So in this sense, this initiative attempts to create a hybridization or a marriage of both of those mechanisms, incorporating the website and incorporating our line of recruitment to the line officers. And in that sense then, a potential applicant can do their due diligence, look at the website, and then they can avail themselves of this arsenal of people whose only commitment is to provide complete transparency in what the hiring process will be like and what a career at the MPD could look like. Now, they literally represent doctrines ranging from anthropology to zoology. And if you look at the profile of a Madison police officer, typically it's a 29-year-old. They have a bachelor's degree. About 20% have a master's degree. A number of them are bilingual. And in terms of looking at some of the demographics of this workforce, again, gleaning on President Obama's 21st century policing, is that in order to remain authentic and true to your constituents, you have to have a diverse workplace. And I think MPD has pledged that for decades and are renewing that commitment. So if you look at our women in the workforce, for example, the national average is 12%, Madison crests at over 30%. If you look at the diversity in terms of age and race, we have 20% demographically on the basis of the most robust, comprehensive census numbers. 20% of Madison reflects people of color. Same holds true here for the Madison Police Department. In fact, the African American community of Madison is about 8%, and our department slightly over 10%. And obviously, Sergeant Patton and his new retinue has been entrusted with pushing that needle all the more so. So I think in the context of what we're looking for, this gives people an opportunity to contact these individuals singularly because their faces and their names and their emails are on there. And then these officers have been told, no holds barred. Let them know the good, the bad, the ugly. But the reality is that we want people to come to this workplace acknowledging and noticing that this is still one of the most noble professional pursuits one can do for mankind. And in that sense, they're going to get that flavor of what we are and who we are directly from the people who are on the front lines. And I think that's very encouraging. Beyond that, I think what you'll find is that these officers have probably between 3 and 19 years of experience individually, and collectively, when the whole crew is brought to bear, there's over 450 years of law enforcement experience here. And so the nice thing is with our department is that There is no one single major that denotes or decries who we are. Yes, we have our share of criminal justice majors, but by no means in any given class that I've ever hired or that Sergeant Patton has ever commanded are they a dominant force. They are but one voice in the marketplace of ideas, and we wouldn't have it any other way. In order for us to stay progressive, in order for us to think out of the box, I want 457 people who are all coming with a robust sense of idealism and philosophical objectives that are in harmony with what we're looking for our mission, core, and values. But I certainly don't want to see a class comprised of 457 guys that look like me or worse, like Sergeant Patton.